writer's workshop, we always begin by coming to the gathering area to do a mini lesson. I think about what my teaching point is going to be for that day that's going to best help them with whatever type of writing we're working on. And so my mini lesson is from 7 to 10 minutes long. I make sure that I connect to what we have done the day before, and then I introduce my teaching point, what I would like to teach them. I model for them what it is that we're working on, and then I, during the active engagement part, will give the students something that they can turn and talk about so that they can practice the skill that we are working on. Okay, writers. We know that we get better by writing more. Sometimes our brains work faster than our hands, and so that's why it's so important that we go back into our writing that we work on and add more to it. So yesterday, you developed your opinion on whether you would like to see a bear at a zoo or a panda at a zoo. And you searched for evidence in your text to support your opinion and your reasons for wanting to see that animal most. So today, I want to teach you that writers can say more about their reasons by elaborating and adding examples to their writing. All right, our readers need more evidence. So I want you to watch me. Let me show you what I mean. You're going to watch me as I elaborate on my opinion piece about why I would like to see a bear when I visit the zoo. So I'm going to reread my piece. It's going to require me doing some detective work and some rereading. So watch me as I read my piece, and I'm going to be looking for a place where I can say more about a reason I gave. In my opinion, I think I would rather visit a bear at a zoo because bears are so strong. One reason I'd like to visit a bear is to see their long claws. They use their claws to dig a den. A den is a cave bears sleep in for winter. I'm going to stop there for a minute. When I read the beginning and I stated my opinion that I would rather visit a bear at a zoo because bears are so strong, I'm wondering if I can go back in my text, brown bear, and find reasons to support and elaborate, tell more about why bears are strong. So I'm going to look in my article that I read yesterday in my text, and I'm going to do some detective work and rereading, and I'm going to look closely to see if there's anything that would give me evidence to support why bears are so strong. Okay, down here where I took some notes, I said bears eat a lot so they can sleep in the winter. Bears eat roots, insects, and fish. Bears are very strong. They can move rocks, dig up roots, and tear apart logs with their strong body. Whoa, those are some good reasons for why bears are strong. I'm going to use that evidence from my text to support my reason of why I want to see a bear at a zoo. I would like to see a bear lift something heavy if I went to the zoo, or maybe carry rocks around. So I'm going to add that evidence to my writing right here. So bears are so strong. And I'm going to use the linking words for example. I'm going to start with for example. And I'm going to squeeze it in right here. For example. Bears can tear apart logs, lift rocks, and pull up roots from the ground with their strong bodies. And pull up roots from the ground with their strong bodies. Okay, so writers, did you see what I just did there? I was a detective, and I read through my story, and I thought about a place where I gave a reason for my opinion to see a bear, and I went back in the text to find a way to add on or tell more about bears being strong by using the linking words for example. I have my own writing folder that I keep writing in, so as I'm modeling for the students, at least 2 or 3 days a week, I will take my writing that I'm working on that I've modeled in front of them, and I will sit at a desk and I will write for the first five minutes, and then I'll get up and I'll start to circulate. But it helps for them to see me as a writer because it keeps them engaged. But the piece that I modeled today, we're working on giving our opinion after reading 2 different texts. So the students the first day had read the text. They had a chance to turn and talk about which bear they would like to see. And then I modeled for them how to form their opinion verbally yesterday. And I began by stating my opinion. So today that piece came from just me modeling which animal I would like to visit at a zoo and how I use those connecting linking words like also, one reason, another reason. And today I chose that piece. I made sure that I wanted to purposely write that baby bears were cute and playful without elaborating, and also that bears are super strong. I wanted to make sure that I did not give an example of how they are strong because I wanted the students to have a chance to have that modeled for them, going back in the text and finding an example of how they're strong, and then them having the chance to be detectives and look at the text and find ways that bears are cute and playful. So now it says, for example, bears can tear apart logs, lift rocks, and pull up roots from the ground with their strong bodies. So hopefully that will convince my reader to go see a bear at the zoo. Okay, so now I would like you to try this work with me. Okay, so I need your help. I want you to go ahead and take the article that you brought down to the carpet with you on brown bears. When I look at my story, I notice that I also say, I would also like to see baby bears because they are so cute and playful. Baby bears really are cute and playful. But I'm wondering if you can help me be detectives and look at your article. Look at the pictures, look at the words, and see if you can find a place in the article that will help me elaborate or tell more about why baby bears are so cute and playful. And if you find evidence of why they're cute and playful, silent thumbs up when you do. Okay, writers, I want you to turn and talk to your partner about what you found in the article, in the photograph, or in the words that tell why baby bears are cute and playful.
Playing, attacking each other.
It shows in this photograph that they're fighting.
When I looked at my students, what they've been working on is opinion writing. One thing that I noticed when they're using text and they need to find evidence from the text, sometimes they're just listing things and they're not giving enough detail or elaboration to add on to their reason. So for example, today when they were writing an opinion piece about whether they would rather see a bear or a panda at a zoo, some of them might have written, in my opinion, I would like to see a panda at a zoo because they're cute. And that was all we had. So today I decided we needed to do a lesson on elaboration and how to go back into the text and look at the photograph and the words and find a way that they could add on to, well, why are they cute? What does it show you in the picture? Oh, they're fluffy and white and black and have little black ears. So then they were able to go and give me more evidence to support their reason.
So I think it's very cute how they play and stuff.
All right, 1, 2, 3, eyes fastened. All right, good detective work, writers. You helped me come up with a way that I could give an example of how baby bears are cute and playful. So good detective work. I'm going to share out some things that I heard. I heard Scarlett and Isabella talking about how baby bears They run fast, and in the picture they could tell they were wrestling. So remember, we always want to use the photograph or the picture to help us add detail. So one way that baby bears were playful is that they were wrestling, they look like they're hugging each other, and they run fast. So I'm going to add that evidence to elaborate on my reason for wanting to see the bear. I would also like to see the baby bears because they are so cute and playful. For example, I'm using those linking words, for example. Baby bears like to wrestle and run fast. And I heard Aiden say that baby bears are cute because in the picture they look fluffy and furry and they're small and little. So also, baby bears are small, fluffy, and huggable looking. So that's what makes them cute. So if I went to the zoo, I would love to see a baby bear that is little and small and furry and huggable looking, playing with another baby bear, wrestling around. So you did a really good job going back into your story and being a detective and finding ways that we can elaborate or add more to our reasons to support our opinion about why I'd rather visit a bear at a zoo. Okay, so writers, now what you're going to do, you're going to go back to your seats and you're going to get your story out and your article. And I want you to be detectives and reread your stories. And remember, writers can say more about their reasons by elaborating and adding examples. So look for those examples that might help you say more about your reasons. Okay, I'm going to call you by group. You're going to tiptoe quietly back and get seated, silent, and self-reliant right away. So let's have the blue row and purple row get back to their seats. Okay, orange row. Red row. I repeat what the teaching point is, and I send them off to get their folders and to start writing. And students know that when they're working, they know where to find words in the room, they know where to find paper if they need it, tape, strips if they need to add on to their writing. So all those processes have been in place for a while, so they know how to solve some of those problems on their own. So while they're writing, after about 10 minutes, I may stop and do a mid-workshop interruption where I share something that a writer has done to make their writing better using the teaching point we worked on, or maybe it's just something that I thought was a really great way to elaborate in a story, like a sound word or a simile, because that really helps the students want to try that same thing. When I walk around the room, if I know that there are certain students who need more instruction or to be retaught in a part of the opinion writing process, I may take them to the carpet and instead of working on the teaching point for today, give them a compliment and teach them just how to state their opinion, because they may not have stated their opinion. They may just say, I like bears. So we go back and talk about how, writers state their opinion by saying, in my opinion. So I just look for students that might be working in the same area and then decide if I need to teach them how to use connecting words, like also, because, another reason, or if they need to work on an ending. So yeah, and plus I look at their writing several times a week after they're done to kind of see who is at what point in the process of writing. And so I kind of have an idea already of what I might be looking for that day, of which students I might want to work with to reteach that part. were you doing in your writing to help your story?
Well, I was just adding an ending because I noticed I didn't have an ending, and then I was going to go back and read through this and add some stuff if I needed it.
That's smart
And
thinking.
I could have used the other page, so I was about to erase that.
So I love that you were adding an ending because your reader needs to know that your opinion piece is done and that you're rereading to see if you can add more details or tell more about your reasons for wanting to see a panda. So I would like you to read part of your story to me right now.
That is why I see a panda.
You did an excellent job, Nelson. I love that you wrote that pandas eat a lot like me. They eat 12 hours a day. I can relate to that because I know on the weekends, Nelson, I like to snack all weekend long.
Me too.
I like to enjoy eating all day long. And so that adds some humor and some personality to your opinion piece. That's a really good thing to do. I took a look at their writing that they had already started, and I give them time to start writing, and I walk around and I just take a look at what they're working on, and I noticed that these two students had a really good reason to support their opinion of the animal they wanted to see, but there was not any elaboration. And I knew that if they looked at the photograph, that they could definitely find more information to add a detail and to say more about that reason. So usually what I'll do is I'll give the students several minutes to write, and then I'll tap a couple on the shoulder and ask them to come to the gathering area. Always start with a compliment that, you know, I love how they got seated and silent and right to work, didn't waste any time. I wanted to compliment that they had a nice introduction stating their opinion. And then I asked them what they were working on as a writer. And so after they tell me what they're working on, I ask if it's okay if I teach them something else that writers do to help give their readers a bigger picture in their mind of what they're talking about. So can I teach you something that writers do? Okay, and you can listen to this too. So one thing that writers do when they're writing is sometimes when they go back in the text, they really look at the photograph to see if they can tell more about their reason for wanting to see the panda. So I noticed you said that they eat a lot like me. They eat 12 hours a day. I'm wondering if you can look at that picture and tell me, what is the panda doing in that picture?
I see it's
I want to see if you could give an example, for example, and tell maybe what they eat for 12 hours a day so that you can say more about that reason. Okay? So you work on that. Good job.
I just write it right up here.
Yep, you can go ahead and put it right in there. And Blake, go ahead and read me your opinions.
When they eat, they sound like crunch, 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 crunch. And they climb trees, and I like to climb trees.
Okay, stop there for a minute. Whoa, I love that you used sound words, because sound words is one of the ways that we know to elaborate in a story, and you did that in your opinion piece. High five. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I love that because I can hear them eating that bamboo going crunch, 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 and so your reader is going to get a better picture in their mind of what that panda is doing. Okay, so when I'm reading your story, I love that you said that they climb trees and that you like to climb trees. So I want to teach you something as a writer. Can I teach you something too? Blake, can I teach you something? Okay, so let's take a look at your text. So where you said they like to climb trees, oh, I see this photograph of the panda up in the tree. What is he doing in there?
Eating bamboo.
Eating bamboo? And he looks like he's just kind of hanging out in there. I want you to reread where it says here about pandas climbing in trees.
And they live in trees.
They live in trees. They sleep in trees. So do you think you could give an example? And they climb trees. And I like to climb trees. For example, pandas, you said they live in trees and they sleep in trees sometimes. So what I'd like you to do, Blake, is you can get a strip from the writing office if you need, and we could put a strip out here and add that for example. I'm going to leave you with that to do about the trees, okay? Writers look at the photograph to get more details to support their reason. So the one boy that said that pandas eat 12 hours a day, when he looked at the picture, he realized that the panda was eating bamboo. So he was able to add that along with the type of teeth panda have to eat that bamboo. So I leave them with a task to do. So when the small group conference, once I teach them something, I say, okay, I'm gonna leave you with this to work on, and then I'll come back to check on you. And then I go back out around and circulate through the class. I wanna share with you something that Nelson did over here. So Nelson, his opinion piece is that he would like to visit a panda at a zoo. And so Nelson was reading his story to me, and he let me teach him something that writers do. He wrote that pandas, they eat a lot like me. They eat 12 hours a day. And when we looked at the photograph in the text, he realized that that panda was eating a long strand of bamboo, but that he didn't write that word bamboo in his opinion piece. So Nelson, super smart thinking, went back and used those linking words. For example, they use their teeth to help them eat bamboo 12 hours a day. So sparkles to Nelson for making that example and using those linking words to tell more about what they eat 12 hours a day. So that's going to convince his reader to go see a panda at the zoo. Good job, Nelson. You can keep working. Okay. Keep working. Okay. And I like to climb trees very good. After they've been writing for 15 to 20 minutes, I call them back down to the gathering area and I share out 2 or 3 more examples of students who used what we learned today or that day with the teaching point. And then I wrap up my lesson with restating the I can statement one last time. All right, so here comes Dylan's story. I'm gonna go ahead and read this to you, and I'm gonna show you where he went ahead and elaborated his reason by adding a for example. Dylan wrote, do you know about the panda bear? I like pandas because they roll around and like to play. For example, they can do flips. Sparkles to Dylan. There's a for example, they can do flips. Pandas live in trees or caves. I also like pandas because they don't sleep in winter. So I don't have to watch them sleep in the winter when I come to the zoo. They have thick fur so they don't sleep in the winter. Baby pandas are called cubs. Another reason I like pandas is because they climb. They also eat leaves, insects, and fruit. Munch, munch. Love the sound word. That's another way to elaborate. Pandas sometimes hug the trees when they're alone. When they are cubs, they can't see well. Pandas' teeth are wide and flat, which make it easy for them to eat bamboo. Believe it or not, pandas eat for 12 hours a day. That's half a day. And so down here, he wrote, pandas are so cute and cuddly and soft. For example, they roll around and sometimes fall down unexpectedly. So that's really cute to watch little panda bears roll around on the ground and fall down unexpectedly. So sparkles to Dylan for adding some for examples in there to give more detail about his reasons. I just wanted to try and find a quiet way that the kids could feel praised and recognized for something that they did with their writing. It just seems to pump them up as a writer to be recognized, and then hopefully that seems to make others want to also try and get that recognition from their peers, and so they work harder in their writing. And also in the gathering area, when the students turn and talk, one thing that I learned from you that really helps is when you go down the center row and you're eavesdropping in and taking notes on what they're saying, that really helps to keep the students engaged because they hope that you might share out something that they've said. So that's kind of like a sparkle to them too. But I just want them to feel good about what they've done and have everybody recognize what smart writing they just did. So writers, give yourselves a pat on the back for doing such a good job today. And remember, when you are writing opinions and you're trying to convince your reader, Justice, you want to remember that you can say more about your reasons by elaborating and adding examples. So good job today. We have writing folders, and this is what has worked for me. It may not work for everybody, but I do like the hanging file folders. The students have boxes that match the color of their folder, and then they just keep their ongoing stories that they're working on in here. They do have a scale in here that we look at. They keep their scale in here if they need to use that to check that they are progressing and doing what's on the scale in their writing. But they get their writing folders. They know they can reread pieces that may not be finished and continue working on those, or they can start a new piece. They'll have that plan before they come back to their seats. But I also have writing baskets with paper in it over here on the shelves, so they know where to find paper when they need it, whether it has all the lines or if it's a different type of writing paper they're using. They also know to go to the writing office if they need to staple something, add a strip. They know where to find words in the room, revision pens when they're adding on. So those are processes I set up from the first couple days and weeks of school, so they know where to find things. So it's a pretty structured routine. It doesn't change. And then at the end of a module, we have a celebration. So for example, we just finished letter writing, opinion writing in the form of a letter. So we went to a 3rd grade class to share our opinion letters with them, to try and convince them to want to read the books that we were writing about. And so we always end our module with a celebration. The kids look forward to it. It makes them work even harder because they're so excited to share their stories. And then I send all that writing home to the families with a letter on the front that explains what we've been working on, to enjoy the stories with their child. I may stage 2 or 3 throughout a module so that this child knows where they're working as far as on the rubric, how many points they've earned, so they have an idea of how that rubric works too. I share that with them. But that's just during a module, that's what I do. We have a celebration, and then I send all their writing home before we start the next